Kicking it with Kiki. Kicking it with Kiki. Kicking it with Kiki. Full of personality. Switching up the storyline on God, we making history.
Writing books, changing lives, one day at a time. Put your problems to the side. Enjoy yourself. Free your mind.
Kicking it with Kiki.
Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of Kicking It with Kiki, Life, Love, and all that other shit. I am your host, Kiki Chanel, and we are here with a special episode. And I thank you guys for listening. I thank you guys for watching. So y'all make sure y'all go over and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I am back with a new episode every Thursday. For those of you who don't know me, I am Kiki Chanel, award-winning author, lifestyle blog, and certified life coach. I specialize in mindset and personal development. This is the overall theme for this podcast. So I have to ask my guests, what does personal development mean to them? And before we get into that, I'm going to go ahead and do what I do and allow these ladies to introduce themselves. Hello, and welcome.
Hello.
Thank you for coming to kick it with me this evening.
Hey, it's my
Hello.
pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah, well, you know what, Simone, I'm gonna let my new guest introduce herself first, because you're a regular to the podcast. So we're gonna turn it over
Yes.
to Miss LaRonda. Miss LaRonda, tell the people who you are and what you do, love.
Good evening. My name is LaRonda Humphrey. I am a mother of two, grandmother of four. I'll be 50 next month. I'm a personal stylist and wardrobe organizer. I'm a domestic violence survivor and an advocate. I'm a sister girl. I'm a home girl. I'm an all around girl. I'm a jack of all trades. I'm your go get it girl.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming to kick it with me this evening. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, Simone, you up, girl.
Oh my goodness. I am Simone O. Higginbotham. I have to say that because Marvin Anderson says it's important that I put that O in there. I'm the owner of Rebirth Magazine, the creator of Rebirth Legend Awards, and I am currently serving as the executive director of the nearly 30-year-old nonprofit Scotlandville Community Development Corporation. I am a community connector. I am a network creator. I try to be everything and all things to, especially to women, because my goal this year, I started last year in the fall. I just want to reimagine sisterhood. I want us to have what you call a real sisterhood, not just a title or in name, but a real sisterhood to reimagine. Because I'm a firm believer that your network is your net worth, and your sister circle is everything.
Everything.
Yes, it is. And we have a newcomer that just joined us. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Taj Freeman. I am a part of the sisterhood that I just chimed in on with Simone was speaking of, reimagining sisterhood with the network to net worth, the ladies that are a part of that. I'm also currently, I was driving trucks. I'm not doing that right now, but I do spoken word. So you probably see me at an event or something like that, or maybe host an event with one of the sisters that are a part of that. And that's where I'm at right now. So yes, I'm I don't know what else to say.
That's good. I mean, because I met you at Simone when you hosted one of her events. So we're connected on social media. It's good to have you here. Before we get into tonight's topic, I do like to ask all my guests what personal development means to them, because this is the overall theme for the podcast. So I'll start with you, Miss LaRonda. When it comes to personal development, what does that mean to you?
To me, specifically, personal development means holding myself accountable and at the same time giving myself grace.
Yes.
That's good.
I've needed those two things, especially in my most recent past, I've I've had to hold myself accountable and at the same time give myself grace, because when you hold yourself accountable, doing all that shadow work and that inner work, it's not pretty.
Right.
It's not pretty all the time, but you have to remember to forgive that part of you and forgive yourself and move on. And that's what the grace comes from.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you say that, because a lot of people don't give themselves grace. I just told a
Yeah.
lady the other day, you have to give yourself grace. You have to know that you can't do everything by yourself. And it's okay
tell
if
my
you don't
sister,
get everything done.
sorry.
And yeah.
Yeah, I tell them that all the time. Give yourself as much grace as you give everybody else, because you deserve it.
Absolutely.
hmm
Yes. What about you, Taj, when it comes to personal development? What does that mean for you? I know you're driving, but you listening, so we got
Yeah.
you.
So with personal development, I think for me, it always means knowing when to pivot,
Mm,
aim,
Mm.
and target. So it's kind of like you like LaRonda said about accountability, you have to know when the shift is taking place, or when you can feel it sometimes. You can feel when, hey, something's just not right with me.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
something needs to change with me. Something needs to shift with me. You can feel that. So that's when you kind of know it's time to pivot. You
mhm.
need to move into a different direction, a different space, a trajectory shift, whatever. And at that point, now you need to know what is the goal, what is the target, and you need to aim for that. Whatever
right.
that means, whether it's sitting down, redeveloping a plan, putting something in writing, as Louisa said the other night, which is so true about writing things down,
Mhm.
because you'll always have a reference point. You'll always have it in front of you. It's always plain. You always can come back to it and see this was the original goal. This was the
Right.
original target. But
Right.
that's what it means to me, to know when to pivot, to know when to aim, and to know what the target is so that you can hit it,
Absolutely.
That's good.
Simone, that's good. That was real good.
I don't know about everybody else, but it took me a while. I know the phrase personal development, I probably heard all of my adult life. But when it came to me, my personal development, I had to realize that my personal development was not what everybody wanted me, or what was directed towards me, or what maybe I was assisting in what I saw in everybody else. So for me, personal development was really to find out who I was and what I wanted and what was going to make me happy. We sometimes get so caught up in what makes everybody else happy. It just goes back to what LaRonda said about giving ourselves grace.
Mhm.
And in personal development, I found that I have to hold myself to just as much high esteem as I do everybody else.
Right.
I can't allow myself to slide on certain issues and certain areas of my life. So that's what personal development is, really getting to know who I am, what I want, what I will allow. Oftentimes in life, especially as being a woman, we allow certain things to slide, certain things to happen to us.
Right.
So in my personal development journey, I have come to the point where I'm not letting anybody slide anymore. You're not gonna do to me what you've done in the past. I'm going to protect myself, my peace. And that's the most important thing to me right now.
Oh, I love that. I love it. I love, love, love that. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're gonna segue into tonight's topic. It is the perception of sisterhood, reimagining sisterhood. And I just want to when you hear the word sisterhood, what does that mean? What does that look like? What do you feel about that? Because as Black women, we always get that bad rap, pitting each other against each other, that backlashing and backbiting, gossip, cattiness, or whatever. So when you hear the term sisterhood, what does that mean for each of you?
For me, it has always been bond over blood. And I say that because I have biological sisters that I love. However, I have seen the strength in my bonds. A lot of times it outweighs the natural sisterhood that I have just in it. It can be anything. It could be just an event that I want to go to or something like that. I've always seen that my sisterhood is not necessarily limited to the blood. It's the bond that I have with certain people. So to me, I look at what is my relationship like? What is the rapport like? What is my support system like? Those are my sisters. So when I think sisterhood, Of course, naturally you think about sisters, but it's to me bond over blood. That's why I see it.
Well, I'm gonna say this, and I can absolutely agree with Taj what she just said about the bond over. I don't have any sisters. I have a brother, so I have first cousins that I don't have a bond with, like women outside of being women that I share DNA with. I do have a second cousin that I have a relationship with. We've had a relationship all of our lives. She's a little older than I am, but I posted about her today on social media. You know, we've had our ups and downs, but we always managed to find our way back to each other.
Right.
So, you know, in what I always say, it's a fairy tale, especially with the time of like social media. You know, you see all these women on here, you know, this is Sisterhood, and you know, it's all a facade. You know, and I see all of this, you know, this cattiness and backstabbing, and I never truly, until the latter part of my life, that I'm gonna tell you when I actually experienced, when I began to experience truth, with the beginning of my journey with true sisterhood, is when I lost my mother. When I lost my mother 7 years ago, the women that were in my life at that time, which was Louisa Palmer, Tondra Alfred, Vanessa T. Williams, Verna Gordon, you know, just to name a few women that were there. Those women were with me. Yanetta Turquie, Jessica Johnson. These were the people that were there when my mother died. Because, and to be honest, my family I didn't have family. You know, when people die, normally your family gathers around you and they support you and they put their arms around you.
Yeah.
I didn't have that experience.
Wow.
So the people that, you know, that I knew, those were the people that were there with me. You know, those are people that I consider, to be honest with you, I'm closer to them than I am to my family. I can count on my fingers, outside of my, you know, my brother, my nephews, and my cousin that I spoke of earlier. It's not just, you know, as a woman, when you sit back and I am a spectator. I'm a person, I don't say a lot when I'm out, but I watch people and how they operate and how they move. And sisterhood here and where we are in this, so I could say a small circle of people here in this city where we live, it is so false. It's false sisterhood. It's not real. But like she said, bond over blood. I know that experience. I live that. So being an advocate for women, and this is why we started this, you know, this thing came to me about reimagining sisterhood, you know, like almost rebranding sisterhood, remaking it, because we were together last Friday, and Louisa said we got to do better as a sisterhood. She said things were going on with us during the holidays. I was sick. One of us had a car wreck. We were all, but I think because of the time of the year it was, the fact of communication kind of got lost in the communication. And she said we have to do better. She said we can't be in a sisterhood and not know what really is going on in each other's lives. And that stuck with me.
Right.
You know, things like that. It's about showing up for people. It's not about buying people or doing this, you know, financially supporting it. It's showing up for people. Just your presence.
Yes.
Showing up for people. You know, that meant the world for me for Tondra and her daughter to show up after my mom died. I couldn't eat anything, but they were there. They took turns. Somebody was coming and cooking every day. I had so much food I could have fed the homeless in Baton Rouge. Wasn't eating it, but the fact that they took time to come and show up and do that for me. You know, just show up for people. Sometimes people just want your presence. It's not about all the stuff that you see on social media. Social media is so misleading.
It sure is.
You know, sisterhood. And I, you know, a lot of these people that I see on here posting, I know better because I know them personally. But the world doesn't know. So you know, stop putting out that false impression of what sisterhood is. It's not,
that's right.
It's not girls' trips. Now they're fun because I go on them. It's not girls' trips. It's not dressing up and put everybody with the same PJs or pajamas on. It's not what it's about.
No,
it's showing up for people, up for people, and being sincere about showing up.
Yes, talk about it, man.
Yes.
Talk about it. Come on, LaRonda. I know you got some stuff to say about it. Like, what does sisterhood mean to you?
Oh, you know, I have some stuff, but I just want to piggyback off of what Taj said and what Simone said. And like Simone, I don't have any sisters. I have a brother as well. But I have cousins that like Simone just wasn't close to my family, and I don't have any family here. I'm from Houston. So I'm here by myself. And until September of 2022, I could not imagine sisterhood. Talk about reimagining it. I couldn't even imagine it until I met Simone and the other group of women, and that was through Todd. And from September to now, I have seen me as a person, my personal, like you said, that personal growth. I have seen me grow as a woman and as a business owner because I see my sisterhood.
Right.
I see that circle. I don't need anybody to coddle me. Don't tickle my ears. Don't tell me what I want to hear.
Right.
Tell me what I need to hear, even if it's uncomfortable.
Right.
I want to be able to be my most vulnerable self with my sisters and know that that's my safe space. Like Todd and I talk about having a safe space to fall. Not only with your intimate life, but with your sisters, you need to have a soft space to live.
Yes.
You know that soft space is safe.
Yes.
You know that it's judgment free. Because a lot of us, we lead different lifestyles. And we may not all agree with that lifestyle, but we all respect each other as a whole, individually and as a whole. I have something in each one of my sisters that I have something that I aspire to be or I aspire to do. That's part of my personal growth. And I see something in each one of my sisters that I'm pulling out of each one of them because I see it and they may not see it. Right. But that's my job to pull it out of them.
Right. You have to uplift each other and build each other.
Yes.
You have to. Hey, Miss Louisa, thank you for joining us.
Hello.
Yes. Hey, Weezy.
All right. So I just asked the ladies the question, what does sisterhood mean to them? So what does that mean for you, sisterhood?
I think to me, sisterhood means having that person that's there with you, not only in the good times, but in the bad times. That person that is willing to tell you the truth, whether you like to hear it or not, because in the end, you know, it makes you better. And somebody who's putting into action what they love into action. Because we get a lot of lip service, but people don't do the work with you. You know, and sometimes my sister don't need to do something for me. She just needs to stand in the rain, hold an umbrella while I go through what I go through. And then accept me for who I am as I am, and don't expect me to be what they expect you to be.
Yes.
Right. That's big. That's heavy right there, because so many people have different friendships outside of sisterhoods that know everybody's business within the sisterhood. So it makes it hard to have that safe space, that trust, that value in the friendship. So, and I've been there. I tell people all the time, my circle is small. It's becoming a C. They can see me and I can see them. But your friends ain't got no business knowing my business.
That's right. That's right.
So I feel like that sisterhood, that is all understood. If everybody's on the same page, then you know what goes on in the sister circle stays in the sister circle.
Stays in the sister circle.
Because so many people devalue sisterhood nowadays. Why do you ladies feel like it's so devalued instead of embraced?
Because it's not real. People, and a lot of times before I can be your sister, I got to know me, because then I become everything that everybody in the group expect me to be, and none of that is me. And so one thing my friends, I guess, and my sisters can say personally about me is they always tell me I'm raw. But I'm not raw. I tell them all the time, you have two friends. You got a cuddle me friend, and you got a friend that go tell it like it is. And I'm just like it is friend. And I think that we don't have sisterhoods because we don't tell it like it is, or we can't receive it. You know, the world has been so like TikTok this, and you got to have an image this, and so many people have images, but nobody know who they are.
Oh, that was heavy. Like,
yes, indeed.
I just got chills because she just dropped some gems. Like, if y'all listening, man, listen. If that didn't resonate with you guys, I need y'all to rewind it and listen to it again. Like, honestly, because that was something that touched your soul. It should have touched your soul, especially if you're on that mindset of elevating, you know, becoming your highest self, changing your mindset. When your mindset shifts, so does your circle.
Yes.
And if you're the smartest person in your circle, you're doing yourself a disservice by being a part of that circle.
Come on.
You need to branch out and look for people that stimulates you
Yes.
mentally so that you can learn and grow. And then you come back for those people that you're supposed to
That's
come back with. And know
That's
that not
right.
everybody is supposed to go with you.
That's right. Yes.
Yes. Not everybody's supposed to go with you. And it's okay.
It's
That don't
okay.
mean that you have any ill will toward them or anything like that. It just means that what God gave for me,
It's
I'm
for
ready
me.
to receive it.
Mm-hmm.
You still playing with your thumbs, and I ain't got time. I'm going to get
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna come back and see if you're ready. But I'm not gonna force you. I cannot
Right.
force you to do anything.
Right.
And I just had a breakthrough moment because I'm doing this juice challenge. And we're on day 3. And yesterday was hard because I was hungry, y'all. I was hungry. I was tired. I was feeling those symptoms of like withdrawal from food.
Yeah.
And so I had to realize that, why do you want people to succeed more than they want to succeed?
Come on now.
And I'm like, you know what? You do that because I'm an empath. So I feel different. I feel strongly. And I
Yeah.
want people to win. So I try to see the good in everything. But I had to realize that some things are just not for me. Some things not for me to fix. I have to fix Kiki. I got to make sure that Kiki is straight. And whoever I'm supposed to be aligned to, God will reveal that to them as well as me. And then we'll come together. But I'm causing myself stress and negativity because I see something in them, but they don't see it in themselves. And I want it bad enough for them, but they don't want it for themselves. That was the breakthrough that I received.
My daughter tells me all the time. My daughter tells me, Mommy, you give people the benefit of the doubt too much.
My daughter tells me the same thing.
My daughter tells me that you give people the benefit because I see the good. I try to see the good in everybody until you show me otherwise. And even when you show me otherwise, and that's the naivety in me, because even when a person shows you who they are, you're supposed to believe them and act accordingly. But sometimes us being at rehab, I can fix them. I can fix because you're so used to being at rehab until you learn, like Louisa said, you learn who you are.
Right. And
you're nobody's rehab. You're nobody's toilet to just come dump on you and to leave, because you can't pour from an empty cup.
You cannot. And
I thought about what Louisa said about this. You said about the sisterhood. Why can't we maintain a sisterhood? So many of us have been betrayed by the sisterhood that started with a lot of us Black women in the church.
Talk about it.
So that sisterhood, that church hurt is the worst hurt. And it started way back there for me. I can speak for me. As a sister, I saw it. My mama died when I was 17. Nobody stepped up. I had aunts, I had older cousins, and I had a grandmother and a grandfather, but nobody stepped up and said, come on, let me finish raising you. Or let me show you how to be a woman. Nobody. My grandmother was a grandmother, and I was 17. So I had to learn it through trial and error. I had to get it out the mud. So I never had a sisterhood. I never fit in. I've always been told by family members, you think you too much, or you're not enough. I never fit in.
Yeah.
You have like how you want to fit in, but you don't. I'm cool. My circle is so small, it's a dot.
Yeah.
That's how small my circle was. It's a dot until recently.
Right.
And it's still a process of letting people in, because you still have that guard up, that I don't want to be hurt.
Right. Absolutely.
What if they know this about me? What if that fear of rejection? They may not want to be my friend. What if they know this about my past? Or what if this, because that's natural. That's real. People tend to hold your past against you.
Right. Right. And I know Taj wanted to jump in there. So go ahead, Taj.
Yeah.
I wanted to piggyback real quick off of what both of y'all just said about, even when you mentioned being an empath and when you mentioned about being naive, trust me, I get it, because I'm on that same end of the spectrum too at most of the time. But what I was gonna say was, I really feel like that is the pureness and the beauty of who you are. The thing about it, even with you doing the juicing, it's portion control.
Yeah.
That's all it is. We don't know how to intelligently ration out our love. We don't know how to intelligently ration out our nurturing who we are. We are most of the time either 0 or 100 because we don't know how to respond to somebody, with the rejection. That's a whole nother factor. But or when somebody is so full of self-sabotage and you, like you said, you want to see them win, it's like, it's almost frustrating. Like, I don't know what else to do. And then that's when you have to realize you've done enough. Right. You've done something and you've done enough. That's portion control. Some people, you have to literally give them 10% of who you are and reserve that 90 because it will exhaust you. And some people, you can go the whole way, the whole mile, hold their hand all the way to the top of the hill, even if you slide down. But you have to know who you're dealing with and how much of yourself you give away so that you can always have something to come back to and not feel depleted. But even when we were talking about why we can't get this thing together, I also feel like we are in a place, our culture, our music, I'm not limiting that to, the colored section. But what I am saying is there's so much competition. Yeah. It's everywhere. And I think even with that, it can be somewhat subconscious, but here's the thing. None of us have truly had this conversation that needs to be had, which could be, hey, another podcast of how do you check your insecurities?
Yeah, let me write that down.
Because if you can't check your own insecurities, what you do is you get into this place where when you do become whatever it is that you were trying to become in your private space, whether it was more pretty or taller or slimmer or more fine or your hair this and when you get to that place and you haven't checked those insecurities, now it's look at me, I wish, you know what would, or they all gonna be looking, and it breeds more competition. It's nothing wrong with feeling yourself. It's nothing wrong with saying I'm a beautiful woman, but why can't we be a beautiful woman and hold the hand of a beautiful woman and say you're a beautiful woman too? Yes, that's the kind of culture that we live in. Yes. And that's what tears down the very thing that we try to build, the sisterhood.
I'm glad that you say that because I had an all guy panel on for last season and they spoke about that. And they asked the question, why do y'all do that, man? What is up with the BBLs? What's up with the eyelashes and all this stuff? I said, we don't do that for y'all. We do that for us. Yeah. Because it's a competition.
It's a competition. The same reason they do what they do. As me.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
And I wish I could have heard that because I was telling somebody recently, and it's not a blame game, but men are a factor in that too. When you hear some of this music, and Lil Wayne has a song, this guy was telling me one day, he said, I don't understand why y'all do all this and do all that. And I'm saying, but you're one of the first people to make a joke about a woman that don't have no booty. Okay, now that shouldn't make you hate yourself, shouldn't make you feel less than a woman, but it's so rich. You got the song that says, you like a blank with no blank, you ain't got blank. Millie, the song by Lil Wayne, or let's talk about Sir Mix-a-Lot, if she ain't 5'5", or you remember the song. We like the song. We like the song. But what I'm saying is we don't even realize it's everywhere. It's in the music. It's in the conversation. When you walk in a room, it's almost like you feel like you grabbing at your clothes when you see a bunch of men in a room because you know what they're looking at, your body,
Yeah.
So I feel like, yes, it's important for us to love ourselves and help build each other up. But some of them men, they kind of contribute to that too. They do.
Well, wait a minute now. Let me tell you this though. We say that too about men, but even women do it. I find it to me it's more detrimental to me from another woman than it is from a man's aspect.
And that's why I said it.
Yeah. Women can be so ugly towards another woman. And, most times I see a lot of women post about, women like they say. And, we are our own worst enemy as a whole. I find it more, for me, it's more detrimental coming from another woman than it is for a man. For you to say something about a woman's body, her body type, her height, or whatever the case may be. I remember 12 years ago when I cut all my hair off and became natural. Nobody hardly in this city was natural but me. And I've always been a person, I don't really care what people said about me. It doesn't bother me, but I see it's detrimental. I have a cousin that, what people say about her, it just kills her. But she's not, and I have to tell you, you have to do what's happy, makes you happy. I cut my hair off because I got tired of going to the beauty salon, sitting up on the hair dryer for 3 and 4 hours because I have extremely thick hair. It was freeing for me. And even my cousins, female cousins, they talked about me cutting my hair off because I went natural. Yourself, in the natural hair process, it wasn't really accepted a decade ago for you just to do the big chop and cut your hair off. So I got a lot of flack from women, but now 90% of those women that had something to say about my hair, guess what?
They're natural now.
And that happened to me too. And I did it when I was 20 years old. That was 23 years ago.
I was 22.
That was my first big chop. And when I tell you, it was like, you like men. It was stuff like that being said. Family, friends.
You done switched over. You done switched over. Yeah.
My mother's sister asked me one day, was I a lesbian? And
because of your hair. Because of your hair.
Yeah, but that's
crazy.
That's crazy that if nothing else has made you come to that conclusion except my hair. I'm embracing what grows out of my scalp. And when you go to at that time, like 2099, whatever, go to what is it, Chocolate City? You go to go up to the Midwest or to the North. That's all you see. But it didn't make sense around the world.
No, it did not.
And you're right, Simone.
I got a lot of flack
the women too.
And from women, not men.
From women.
But let me tell you something. African American men are notorious about women with long hair. We all know that. It's something about, they feel that women with long straight hair, but that goes back to the days when we were on the plantation. That goes back to everything that's light and white, long hair and all of that.
Yes.
And I think my biggest thing, I come from a woman that was fair skinned with long hair, didn't have a perm or whatever, and I looked nothing like her. And imagine growing up in a household with a woman that looked like that. And then my grandmother was very, and like you said, it goes back, it's generational, even with women. My grandmother was, people call them color struck or whatever. She was light skinned, she had red hair. And it wasn't dyed. She had red hair. But her light skin, her fair skinned grandchildren, you could step out the house. Myself and my brother, and then a couple of other cousins, my mother's brother's children, which were my color and a little darker, we were not in the house. We were not on the walls. We were not in the scene in the house or whatever. She had, and I remember when, let me tell you how serious that goes, how deep that goes. When I had my daughter, my prayer was for her to come here and not be my color. And that's to be 23 years old. And when my grandmother found out that my child was fair, she could eat her up. All what she didn't bestow upon me, she bestowed upon my child because of the way she looked.
Wow.
Because Mariah has curly hair and she's, lighter. And that just, that amazed me. She could literally eat my child up.
Wow.
She came to that hospital on 2 wheels.
But Simone, you said what came from the plantation, a lot of stuff started from the plantation.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of our stuff started from the plantation. When you want to talk about incest and the sexual molestation within the families, that started from the plantation. When they used to, when master used to make you lay with your mama, your sister, your auntie, your cousin, it got so bad with the men, they started putting bags over their heads. They didn't want to see who they was laying with.
Yeah,
that is deep.
It's deep, and I think
they crab in the bucket mentality. Who put the crabs in the bucket? A bucket is not our natural habitat.
Ladies,
so who put us in a bucket?
I think, ladies, though, those are all valid statements because it's true and it's happened. But I think that at some point, us as a people, we've had all kind of atrocities forced upon us. But at the end of the day, my history cannot dictate my destiny. And so I'm going to have to do things differently. Yes, we've all experienced, because as a people, we just had a plethora of things happen to us. But I think if we're going to form into new sisterhoods, into new relationships, that stuff has to be, not gone because we can't forget it, but it can't dominate our thoughts. we need to start to think more about where we can take from now and go forth. Because if we don't, even on a lighter scale, we'll be repeating the same atrocities again. Not necessarily, the molestation of one another or the hating one another, but we'll teach our kids that the light skin, because I hear them say, oh, she got good hair, oh, she got bad hair.
Oh,
My pastor said, if you got hair, you got good hair, or you don't have no hair. That's bad hair.
Whatever you got is good, baby.
We have to retrain our brains, and we have to take those things. Like I never want my grandson. Like I struggled. I was a single mom. It was poverty raising him up. I never want him to feel that. Do we need to know about it? Probably, so he doesn't feel entitled. But we never want our next generation to feel the pain that we go through. So what we got to start doing is we bring it up, we teach them about it, but then we talk about the possibilities of what could be. Because when we harp on it, I think about even when that young man, Elton Sterling, got shot over there on Foster. They were hundreds of thousands of our kids out there standing up protesting. But the reality of some of them was, they didn't know they was protesting. They were just mad because a black man shot a white man. It's like we have to take our history, use it as a platform, but go to our destiny. I want my grandson to see things I've never seen. I want him to go places, and if I had a granddaughter, my daughter for that matter, to go and to dream. Yes, growing up, I was the dark one in my family too, so I got the brunt of it. So what I do about new generation, I don't treat my dark child different than my light. I take the pain and the hurt that I had, and I switch it. Because if we gonna change the meaning of sister, that we gonna reimagine it, we can't say, oh, they used to do this, or we used to do that. Right?
Come on.
Because then we're dwelling on those things that are over with. The Bible even tells us, don't think about that stuff in the past. Think about what's ahead of you. And I know it's hard because, it's been ingrained in us. I'm 56. It's been ingrained in me 56 years that the white man did this and you can't do this, but I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. When I became a new creature, I got a new look at things. And so I think that us as a people, as a sisterhood, I have two sisters, and for years we didn't talk. But now we talk, we travel, we do things. We expose the pain that caused us to be separated. But in dealing with all that stuff, once we deal with the pain, then we move from the pain. And then we go into the other place. But we can't get in the pain and stay there, because we'll never do nothing different. You'll never be my sister. When I heard people going through in our group, I sent flowers. I took people out to dinner, not because I financially was able, but I know what it's like, and I'm quite sure what it's like to be alone and feel like there's nobody there for you. See, my heart with Forever Sisters was, I never wanted a woman to feel like I felt. I felt alone. I felt abandoned. I felt by myself. But if I could do one thing to make one person know that they're not alone, then I feel like my living not in vain. And I think that when we reimagine sisterhood, or even when we talk sisterhood, if my sister is going through, I might can't bail her out, but I want her to know she's not going through by herself.
Right.
I want her to be there. Like today, I teach school. I put in my group chat today, I teach school. One of my students that I taught at the beginning of the year, I substituted this year, was in a terrible car accident. Now, I only met his mama one time in 2 months I was there. But now her baby's on life support in a coma. They think he brain dead. I made a point to call this woman. I took the time. I'm in the morning before I go to my job, I'm going to go to that hospital and I'm going to pray. See, sisterhood is more than just talk. We do a lot of talking, but we need some action behind it. And sometimes it takes you out of your comfort zone. Sometimes you got to sometimes you dog tired from work, but you got to make an extra effort. That's what sisterhood is. I don't just fit you in my 8 to 5. I fit you in when you need me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it.
And let me say this. That is so true. Let me tell you something. Louisa's not preaching to be preaching, just to be hearing herself speak. That's a truth statement. That is who she is. Every event that I have, even if she can't be there, she's been ill at sometimes when I have events, but she always calls me and asks me, do you need something? You got everything you need? And I'll laugh. She said, I'm serious. I said, no, I got everything. I don't need anything. But it's always good to know that you have that person that's going to do that. It hasn't been an event yet that she doesn't call and ask, is it something you need? You got everything? You need some help with this? And, and I know it's genuine. I know it's not just to be calling just to say it, And, that goes back to, just like she said, for Forever Sisters. That was the purpose when I first, oh my God, 10 years ago, I almost started Rebirth magazine. And I was at a point in my life but I looked at it as a rebirth. I had been through everything under the sun, but I always wanted to let women know that even though what I had been through in life, that there was, something at the end of the tunnel. There was light. There's truly light at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
Because I'm gonna be honest with you. I know y'all remember this journey I took you all on almost 2 years ago when I was getting ready to turn 50.
Yeah.
And I remember one morning in the car, I don't know where me and my daughter were going, and she said, "Mama," she said, "why on earth is it so important? What's so important about 50?" I said, "Let me tell you something." I said, to be honest, I never thought I would have made it.
Come on.
There were points and times in my 20s that I thought I'd have been dead. I didn't even expect to be 30. To be 50 years old and in reasonably good health, my right mind, to be through an abusive marriage, all these things that I've been able to overcome, not survive, but overcome.
Yes.
And see 50, I said, girl, you just don't know. I look at all the people, some of the people I've grown up with that's been gone home. And I'm here. To be honest, I never thought I would have saw 50, and I'm so grateful for that.
Yes.
So, to be able to live life, and that's what I want to see other women like Taj, who's younger, the other ladies in my group, Keyshawn, who's much younger, and Denise, they're younger than us. I'm so glad that we didn't keep this group one-dimensional, this circle of friends, because we are, with these younger women. Maybe possibly, I think, Louisa and I were just talking earlier, to be able to navigate, just like you said, you got to be real with them and tell them. They may not want to hear it, but you got to tell them. And even myself, sometimes, people tell you what you need to hear. I laugh all the time about Danita Tate, and she'll call me, she'd be so upset, and I'd be so calm. And I said, all right, Danita, say your prayers and go to bed. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And she'll tell you that. I'll tell her that. Because see, I at first, I don't let her harp on it. That's just why I'll cut her off and I'll tell her, you know what, go to bed, say your prayers, go to bed. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Because always time to say it's in the morning. Everything always seems to be in the morning. Everything will look a little bit better, a little bit
in the morning.
Y'all be all over.
Yes, right. I don't allow her to just go into, harp on it. Just keep talking about it.
Yeah.
So, and then we talk about it the next day. But as I love this circle of women. I mean, when I say we have a group text, we try to be there as much as possible. But like Louisa say, we do have to do better. And we have to know what's really going on. And I want everybody to, in my circle to know that, it's never too late. It's never too early. I may not be able to answer. Sometimes I'll be a little tired of, or I can't, but I'll get around to you. As Louisa fussed at me Friday, she said she had called me 9 times. But I was sick during the holidays. And if I don't answer, you should know something is really wrong. But that's just Louisa being Louisa, and I love her for it. I wouldn't take her any other way.
Yeah, and also
I want to say this.
Go ahead. No, because I was going to ask a question, but go ahead and make your point, Taj. Go ahead.
I was going to say this because we're talking about sisterhood, right? We're talking about reimagining. We're talking about, like LaRonda said, accountability. And here's what I know. In the reimagining, there is some reconditioning. And in the reconditioning, there's some retraining. So what that means is, if I'm your sister, whether I know you or not, I could just see you tomorrow, another woman, you my sister, whether you realize it or not. In all of my getting, I am supposed to give. So in the retraining, every interaction that I have, like what I can say about Dana's event the other night, it was beautiful. It was beautiful to see other women in the room showing up for a beautiful woman. For Danita, whoever else was on the panel, I forgot the other lady's name. And it wasn't all about women, but you get the point that I'm making. Because a lot of times we don't know how to do that because we ain't been reconditioned yet mentally. Yes. But in that retraining, like one thing my auntie told me, and it didn't make sense to me at 26. But when I say the woman gave me gold and gems and jewels that you can't put a price on them. She said, Taj, because I fell out with a friend years ago. And she asked me about it, and I was like, I ain't calling her. She said, why not? I said, because she did this and she did that. She need to call me. And my aunt said this. She said, no, you should be the one to call, because the one with the most wisdom is always the most responsible. And if you ever valued that friendship, you'll be the one to call. Even if you just say, hey, I'm just checking on you. That's your responsibility because you have the most wisdom. And I have carried that since my aunt passed. I'm telling you, it rings in my ears like crazy. Even though I still have some character flaws, the one with the most wisdom is the one with the most responsibility. So when you in a store or when you at an event and you see this gorgeous sister with a nasty attitude that's just, you can tell what's going on with her, but you can also read the damage in her eyes, it's your responsibility to say, girl, you know you got it going on.
Yes.
Baby, you wearing that
Pour
dress.
into that person.
Yes, that is, you're starting a system of retraining even in her mind. She may not even acknowledge it, but she gonna remember you. She remember you. And that's still your sister, you know?
Absolutely. I love that. And I love speaking life into people.
Exactly.
Not everybody has had that in their lifetime.
Yeah.
And not everybody can accept that because they've never had it. So they feel like you're being fake or not genuine, or you want something for them. And I was with a client one night and she was like, I don't know why I just love talking to you. You so easy to talk to. She said, God just gave it to me. You don't want nothing from me. I can talk to you because you don't want anything from me. And that resonate with me to this day, to be that person that she needed. I didn't know she needed it. She didn't even know she needed it at the time. But when you take yourself out of the equation and live the way that God has called you to live, then you see life different. The things that used to bother you, that don't bother you anymore. And like Miss Louisa said, we have a long ways to go as a people, but it's a lot of us with a lot of wisdom that can pour into our people to get them to understand, baby, you're not stuck no more. Your mind is not in that place. Come on off the plantation.
Out of that place.
Come on. I got you. Let me pull you to where I'm at and love on you and give you some of this light, because otherwise it's going to consume you and you're going to die full of resentment, regret, animosity, or whatever. So having that sense of sisterhood and reimagining it, I love that reconditioning, because you have to, it ain't always pretty, and it's not going to be pretty. But it's all about the delivery, because some people you can't come at a certain way. Like Miss Louisa could probably say, Kiki, now you know, and I'm a listen. But some people might come at me and like, well, girl, you know, and I'm like, you don't even know me like that.
Right.
But when you open yourself up, and then it's all about how you give out stuff too, because you can't come at everybody like a certain way. And I learned this the hard way, because my mama is very blunt. To this day, she's very blunt. So she created that space for my siblings and I, as a hood, like a family hood, to speak our mind, to don't let people talk all over you or walk all over you. You be authoritative and all this kind of stuff. But everybody can't take that. You have to speak a different way to certain people. And
I think everybody has a field of labor.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And your technique or the way you are is for your field of labor. And I think with social media and stuff like that, we think everything we do is for everybody, but it's not.
And it's not.
I watch, you know what I'm saying? I can talk, and even in our sisterhood, there's no clicks, but there are people you're drawn to because your personalities are like. And I think that LaRonda used to always say, give yourself the same grace you give other people. And I think you should do that. But I also think we have to give people grace, because sometimes, just like you said, Kiki, for me, I'm 56. I don't think my mama has ever, as long as I know, told me she loved me. I think I told him that last night. But I make it a point to tell my kids. I mean, and I only got that because I used to work in a daycare, and a lady used to come in every day and tell her daughter she was beautiful. And one day I said, you tell her you're beautiful every day. She says, because when I grew up, nobody ever told me, and I never thought I was. So for me, if I would have met her and said, oh, you're so pretty, and she would have like, what? But that's because, not because of me, but because she didn't know how to receive it. Right. And so a lot of times, even in sisterhoods, we don't know how to receive certain things, because certain things have always been expected from us when they were given to us before. So we have to take walls, but in the process of that, you got to love me till I get there.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Love me till I get
there. We're not in the same place. So you got to, if you're truly my sister, you're going to love me till I get there. You know what I'm saying? And then I realized, if you're not my sister, then instead, my thing this in 2023 is protect my peace. Yes. I don't care who you are. If you are costing me my peace, you're too expensive for me. And then
I'm about to let y'all read my shirt. Peace
Peace
is
is a priority. Disturb mine and you gotta go. I know that's right. Yes.
So
You got to go.
Realize that we go always be messed up trying to make other people happy because we can't. We're gonna always to be what they think. Like even in our group, there are some of us that do some of the same things. There should be a competition in that because there are billions of people on this world, and what God has for you is for you. The only person I'm in competition with now, and it took me 56 years to get here, is me. I want to be better tomorrow than I was today.
Yes.
Come on.
With you, I don't have. First one, I had, and I just want people.
Yeah.
right. I love it. I love that.
Yes.
And then, you know, I wanted to ask the question, how can we form healthy sisterhoods? Like, how do you believe that we can break that cycle and destroy those generational curses when it comes to forming healthy sisterhoods? I know we said a lot, and some of the stuff can go into this answer, but I just want to hear what each of you got to say about how can we, moving forward from this day on in 2023, how can we form healthy sisterhoods?
We got to work on it.
Yeah, that's it. We
gotta
like
work on
we were saying
me.
earlier. I know when I said something about learning how to check your insecurities.
Yeah.
That's gonna knock out a lot of, because sometimes we can be in the presence of a person that actually holding the key to something we need, or they are the door, and we're supposed to be in communion with them, fellowship with them, because they are the door or the key, and we're either intimidated or we're jealous, and it doesn't have to be about looks. It could just, you could just feel like you're not worthy to be in their presence.
Just energy.
We have to learn to check the insecurities, because one thing that I heard a man say, he said, powerful women do not feed any insecurity. It's not that they don't show up, but you do not let them grow. You do not feed them, you don't let them grow. Powerful women know how to lay and slay their insecurities. Lay them down and slaughter them.
You know? That's right.
That's so true.
And when we can do that, then now you're walking in a whole set of power that you've been supposed to be walking in. So nothing around you can shake who you are. You can meet somebody else that's either your door or your key, or or it could be a brand new garden that you're supposed to water. Whoever she is, you can be what you need to be for her. Because it ain't nothing in you you're not lacking confidence. You're not lacking worthiness. You're okay with you. So when we get there, then we can make it, it can be a healthier, stronger sisterhood. It can be.
That's the answer.
If you don't love and trust you, I sure can't love and trust somebody else.
That's right.
And so I got to work. And like Car said, she said, check your insecurities, but I'm going to say face them. I'm going to say face them and deal with them. Don't just, we can make a list of everything wrong with us, but if we don't work on fixing that list, it's just a list on a piece of paper. Like
I say,
checking them though. That's what checking.
I don't mean check.
Yeah. Put some action behind that. And I think that as women, because you know what, we are good at talking a good game. Baby, I can slay this hair, put some makeup on, look good, and you would think I'm the queen of the world and be so tough on the floor inside.
Yes.
Come on.
For so long in the Black community, we've heard fake it till you make it. We need to stop that bull crap.
Stop that.
Stop faking it. If you are not okay today, I'm not okay today, but I will be okay.
Yes.
And when I can address my own personal issue, see what it is we try to fix other people, but we don't try to fix us.
Accountability.
If I fix me,
self-awareness and accountability.
Right. I can give you all the information, but I go home and be struggling with the same things. And so for me, the last year and a half has been a journey of self-discovery of me. What is wrong with you? What do you have to check? And even when those things, because like I remember I prayed one night, I said, God, what's my issue? One of my issues. And I heard you selfish. I'm like, I'm not selfish. I'm talking to God. But it wasn't selfish. It was the selfish. I was a single parent. Every penny was going to take care of my kids. I was scared to give it up. I had to control the situation. But that thing leads you into the spirit of Jezebel. Now you're trying to manipulate things to have it your way. So once I realized that, now people ain't gonna say that about themselves, but I'm okay now because I'm getting free.
Yes, ma'am.
That when you acknowledge it, then when it starts to come up again, you can catch it and say, not today. And then you work on yourself. See, my son, all your stuff, all stuff, I don't care. Because that's all who made me who I am. And the Bible says there's nothing you want to So anything you're going through is already going through. So if you can free yourself from that, then you can free. But if you're not free, I can't free you. If I got a lust problem, you got a lust problem. We go into the club, baby, we both in trouble.
Yep, that is so true.
in trouble.
That is so true.
You know,
Oh my goodness,
humbling.
that is so
Humbling.
true.
You know, and when
that thing will rise back up, and it's rising back up because it has a purpose too. Just like it's for you to kill it, but it'll rise back up just to say, I'm just here to see if you're the woman you say you are. I'm just here to see you. Version of you. I came back just to see if you know who you are and if you really involved. And it's our job to put that thing back in check, to kill it all over again, you know?
Listen, that is so, man, man, I'm so glad. Listen, I am so glad that we got to do this discussion on today.
Yes, ma'am.
On today, because it is so needed. It is needed in our culture, our community, and in our consciousness, really, because
our consciousness.
You have to change your mindset when it comes to forming a sisterhood. You have to know that there are different components. You have to know that not everybody fits in that circle. Because some people fit in, some people come in and change the shape of it. So you have to, we have to be careful. Not saying that we have to turn people away, but that energy is real.
Yeah,
it is.
It's funny that you say that, because in our little group chat, we started out with like 7 people, and then we got to 8, and then we got to 9. By the time I got to 9, I called Simone and said, "Wait, this more people coming up in here." You know, and she was like, she said it's gonna be all right. I'm like, wait, now, you know, it's the people. But I want to say, even in your sisterhood, you have to acknowledge the gifts in other people. And somebody asked me, what is my passion? And I kept thinking, I don't know. But my passion is teaching women. My passion is, you know, what you're doing, Kiki. I was gonna say, I admire you, because now I'm sitting here thinking, this is what I want to do. I love the group. And I even went as far as to go get my doctorate in psychology so I can do this. And I'm not doing that. So, but you have to figure out what your thing is. You know, I got a thrift store, and I told someone, I said, I don't want to be known as a thrift store woman, because the thrift store is what I own, but that's not who I am. But I don't want people to get that twisted. I'm Dr. Louisa Palmer, who can help you work out your issues if you give me the opportunity to. And so when we as women find our space, our niche, our whatever we do, and then acknowledge our sisters, like I love watching your show, because and then when we went last night to watch Danita's thing, when I laid on that couch, I leaned over to LaRonda and I said, I could do this, we could do this. And I'm thinking, that's what my heart is, because I like to see people's lives change. So when you do what you're called to do, I could be in a room with 10,000 people, and I'm doing you know, I'm doing me, and I don't have a problem with those 10,000 people. The jealousy comes in when you don't know who you are, and you just
that's right. That's right.
You know,
you don't know who you are. You
drop the mic on that one. Like, I'm gonna drop my mic on that one, y'all. I got the mic drop on that one. Like, when more people understand what you just said, people would know what their purpose is without a question. When you get delivered from people, you move different, you glow different. People flock to you. The right people flock to you. The right discernment becomes intensified, because you already have these leech spirits that are leech on you and suck the life out of you if you will let them. But knowing who you are and who you are will connect you to the people who you're supposed to be in alignment with.
Drop off the other ones.
And it goes just as simple as this: know your circle.
Know your circle.
It's just simple. Know your circle. Know your circle. Yes. And I do know mine. And then I would think that by now they know me. But it's been a journey. And like I say, to know who I've come to the point now, I don't really care what people think about me. I'm gonna do what I want when I want to do it. And if I don't, I don't know if that comes from probably being by myself for a long time, but I'm not going to let anybody come in and dictate to me what I can and cannot do. And that goes male or female.
Amen.
Life is too short to try to, you have to conform to other people. If you are my sister, you're going to love me regardless of who I am. Now, you're going to help me along the way, like Louisa, Taj, and LaRonda have said earlier. And you also, Kiki, you're going to help me to build on those gifts that I have. to help
Yes.
me elevate my purpose, help me find my purpose, help me exaggerate my gifts, my purpose and all that. So if you're not in my circle to do this, then there's no need for you to be in my circle. I'm not in the business of rebuilding people, resurrecting them, or what's another word I want to use? Renovating them and all that.
Being a rehab.
Yeah.
Yeah, rehabbing people. I'm not into that. I'm not flipping people.
Mhm.
You know,
You
my
say-
people go flip houses, I'm not flipping people. Now I will help you. I will be there for you to the end. You can call me, ask me anything. I'm going, and I've had to, and I'm so glad in the last, you know, I keep saying about COVID, you know, and I think a lot of people can relate to this. The pandemic helped me in so many ways. Those weeks and those months when I actually was in here by myself, not having any physical contact, it forced me to really realize who I was, whose I was, and what I wanted out for the rest of my life. And I say this all the time, and those people that do know him, my brother has got to be one of the craziest men that I know on the face of this earth. But he said something that made a lot of sense to me the other night, and I'm going to stand on what he said. He said, you know, he's 49 and I'm 51. He said, you know, more than likely we have more behind us than what we have in front of us. And I said, you're right. He said, whatever it is that I have in front of me, he said, I'm going to do exactly how I want to do it. He said, you know, people are not going to agree with that. He said, but if you know who you are and what you want and what you need and what's going to make you happy, at the end of the day, you being happy and content. And he said, having peace. He said, peace is everything. And it cannot be measured by any means, by any man or any instrument to be measured. Peace is everything. He said, and I'm going to get mine and keep it. So in saying that, we have to do overall what makes us happy. And then people have to be able to embrace you where you are at that point in time where they meet you. Now it's up to that individual if they're going to bring you into the fold or they're going to accept that. And I think often as women, we don't accept people for who they are at face value. We want to mold them and be them what, you know, maybe a reflection of ourselves, a reflection of who we are. Because, you know, even twins, I don't care if they're identical, they're still different.
They're different.
That's right.
You know, we can't expect everybody to be like us. And I've also learned on this last couple of years, you know, people, you know, I often worried about people saying that, just like I think LaRonda said, you know, a lot of my family members say I think I'm better than them. No, you think I'm better than you.
That's right. That's what it is. That's what it is.
You're projecting.
They see in you. They saw in you way back when you didn't see it in you.
Yeah.
They recognize in you. That's what
that goes on to the journey of recognizing who you are. Goes back to what Louisa said. We have to learn to love who we are for whatever our shortcomings are, whatever our pluses are, whatever it is. We have to learn to love it all and accept it all. And if we want, and those shortcomings, you can always work on that. We're always going to be a continuous work. We work
absolutely.
Work.
Absolutely.
We're always evolving and changing. I know I am not who I was 2 years ago. I am nowhere near who I was 2 years ago.
And I encourage anybody who is listening, if you're still the same person that you were 2 years ago,
Come on now.
it's time to do something different.
Different.
It's time to change the way that you think. That starts with that positive personal development.
That's right.
Look, you got Dr. Louisa, who I'm gonna have all her information. You guys can contact her. She'll be more than happy to get you together. Trust and believe. She gonna help you get together. Right. Or you can talk to Coach Kiki. I'm a excuses person. I don't make excuses. I make resolutions. We gonna get to the bottom of this. And we're going to get rid of this mental baggage, because I help people release their mental baggage to create a positive mindset through positive personal growth and development.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. You have to be able to do the work. And it's not going to be easy. And it's not intended to be. Because it's not. Because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Everybody would do it. You right about that.
Everybody be doing it.
But guys, you have been listening to another episode of Kicking It with Kiki. We have been talking about reimagining sisterhood, the perception of sisterhood. We have had some amazing conversation. These ladies are awesome. And on a personal note, I like to ask this question to all of my guests for every episode. What would your now self tell your younger self about today's topic, reimagining sisterhood, the perception of sisterhood? And y'all, I'm gonna let each person go. So y'all decide who wants to go first and just let it do. That's the question.
I can say I would tell 17-year-old LaRonda that it is some genuine women out there. It's okay to let your guard down.
I love that.
It's okay to let your guard down. Somebody's gonna give you a safe space to land.
Wow. That's deep. I love that.
Yeah, I'll be 50 next month. I would tell my 45-year-old self.
Hey, come on.
I just turned 45, girl. What the
Yeah, I would tell my 47-year-old self that. Yeah.
All right.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Wow.
I would tell my younger version to be confident in who you are. Don't worry about what people say, because just like high school, 4 years pass before you know it. You'll be a change. It won't always be the same. And be the sister you want to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's deep.
That's good, sis.
That's good. That's real good.
That's good. Yeah.
I guess I would say to the young Simone, especially in my teens and 20s, don't be afraid to be who you are. Don't be afraid to embrace self, and not to be upset or disillusioned by others consistently telling you who you're not. Because who you are, and if you're and profess to be the best version of Simone.
That's right.
So that's what I would tell young Simone, younger Simone.
Yeah. Taj, what would you tell young Taj, a younger Taj?
I would say in any room, in any friendship, whatever, any space that you're in, you are allowed to wear your armor and you are allowed to wear your heart on your sleeve. Know when to, and always know the difference.
Oh, wow. I love that.
Lock it up. Click, click.
And I would tell young Kiki that you deserve it.
That's right. That's good.
I would tell her, because she didn't believe in herself at one point.
Yes.
And so I would tell her that you belong in the room.
Yes, ma'am.
You deserve to be there.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's what I would tell. I would tell young Kiki that you are good enough and you deserve it.
Deserve it.
Yeah.
I'm still let Kiki. You belong in the room. Yes. We'll sit on the Facebook post.
Yes, ma'am. Look, you can have it. You can have it, because I'm glad that it resonated. That's the thing, though. Look, a friend of mine said, I'm gonna give you credit for it twice, and then it's mine.
That's good. That's good.
But
that was a good question. That was a good question. I think that would be a good exercise for women, and just not women, people. Sit down and write a letter to your younger self.
Oh, that is so funny that you say that, Miss Louisa, because I just started my Power of Mindset course. The first week was last Sunday. We're coming up on the second week on Sunday. And that's some of the exercises that they had to do. They had to write a love letter to themselves. And then we're going to go over it again after they write another love letter to themselves at the end of the course.
Okay. And you know what I think with that? I think that's an awesome idea. I would have them put a stamp on it and mail it to themselves.
See, I didn't think about that. I could, that way they compare it. They can compare it.
Come on back home and just read, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we say stuff where we don't listen. But you write yourself a letter, and I used to love going to get my little mail when I was younger. Go to the mail, because we all about emails now. Don't email it. Go to make a conscious effort. Go to the post office, get a stamp because you're worth it. Mail it to yourself, and when they come in, get you a cup of something and sit down and just read it to yourself.
Yeah,
you can to your future self.
Yeah,
and you can say, this is where we want to be, sister, friend, self, whatever. You can write a letter to your future self and not open it until 6 months from now, a year from now, whatever.
Right.
Like a time release.
That's amazing. That's amazing. But I told them to write the letter right then and now. where they are in this moment. I didn't want them to go to childhood. I didn't want them to go back for a year ago. I wanted them to tell it to themselves at this moment. And then we're going to do the other letter at the end of the course, because it's a mindset shift.
Yeah.
See where their mind is at.
Yes.
Day 1 to week 4. But
It's
yeah,
kind
that's
of
a
what the
good
I am
idea though,
statement.
Taj, writing a letter to your future self. That's
Mhm.
amazing. That's
Wow.
something that
Like I
y'all
said,
in the
no, I-
sisterhood, the
Awesome
sisterhood could do
idea.
that. The
That's an
sisterhood could
awesome
do that.
idea, Simone and Louisa.
And you
Yes.
know what I
That's
think? Even
awesome.
in your group, in your circle, what would be a good idea? Look, I'm shaking this bottle. I'm juicing to Kiki.
Oh, cool. Yay.
I think that in your circle, you know what? Sometimes we don't see some things in us, but other people see things in us.
Mhm.
And I think even in your group, in your sisterhood, it wouldn't be a bad idea if the sisters wrote a letter to each other and say what I see in you. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Because sometimes, and even if you do good and bad, not bad, but things you can work on, I think that's we don't have to depend on what other people say, but we need to see what we portraying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Just to see where you are, like see what
Yeah.
see what people feel, what your energy is conveying.
Right.
Sometimes, I mean, one thing that I know how to do is check myself, baby.
Yes,
And I
ma'am.
only know
Ooh.
I'm the type of person that I support people, and I don't expect anything in return.
Yeah.
But if I feel like you're just taking advantage of me, I'm out.
Yeah.
And you'll never get that version of me again. Not
you get
saying
it,
that
once
I
you-
have
that's
anything.
right.
I don't want you to succeed, or none of it. It ain't even about that. It's about me at this point, because I gave you all of me.
Yep.
And
I
you,
want you to eat, just not at the table with me. Yeah. Not the same table.
we ain't even in the same restaurant. How about that?
Yeah.
I don't even want to be in the same restaurant.
I want you to eat, just not with me. Yeah.
Yes. But look, we can talk about this topic of sisterhood all day, y'all. I hope you guys enjoy this episode.
Definitely.
Make sure that you guys comment your thoughts. Interact with these women, because I will have all of their social media on here. If something resonated with you, please share it. I love the feedback and the engagement with the audience. And I love these conversations because we have to have more of them. They need to be normal.
Yeah.
They have to be normal. And I am going to do some different stuff moving forward with the podcast. So I'm going to be in touch with Simone, and she's going to relay the information to you guys, because I want to start doing different segments, talking about hard topics that make us uncomfortable.
Ooh.
That's the only way that we're going to overcome and
right.
grow as a people,
Yes,
as
ma'am.
ourselves, and to pour into other people as well. So I would definitely be in touch. You guys heard it here first on Kicking It with Kiki, but I am going to love you guys. I'll see you next time. Thank y'all for coming to kick it with me. It has been amazing. Thank you guys for listening in. There's no me without you. So each season, I try to give you all of me, the best of me, more of me. And I will continue to do that as long as you're listening. I'm not really big on numbers, but if I can impact 1 or 2 people, hey, I've done what I'm supposed to do.
All right.
But until next time, remember that if the bumps in the road don't slow you down enough to let you enjoy the scenery along the way, you need to make a detour, change lanes, and stop saying I'm gonna stay in my own lane. Sometimes you got something in front of you might be holding you back, and you may have to veer off to the left or the right to get around it, to get to where God has you going. So remember that. Next time, don't say I'm gonna stay in my own lane. Now I might have to change lanes. And tell them Kiki said it. All right. Love and light. Good night.
Good night.
And